Hey everybody, welcome back. Psychedelic here. Back once again with my continuation of my Chicago vinyl finds. And this is basically stuff I've been posting on Instagram as of lately. And I still have to finish out my stack I picked up. I mean, we're talking a thick stack. So what we got on the turntable right now, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's kind of a soft LP. So it's kind of blended to the background a little bit. I picked up this. This is Jim and Dale, 86% of Us. It's on the United Artists label. This is kind of one I've known about for a long time. Finally picked up on it. I spotted this at the record show in Omaha maybe a couple years ago, and I think I had like enough in my stack already. I just kind of passed on it, you know. But I've always kind of known of its reputation, you know. It's very Chad and Jeremy inspired, I would say. Before, like, of Cabbages and Kings, you know, kind of more vocal pop driven, but also very much, they're very much a folk duo, folk pop. But like I said, kind of Chad and Jeremy inspired in the way that, you know, they have all these kind of Baroque textures and, you know, kind of psyching out their sound a little bit with, you know, some fuzz bass on one track. Just different uses of effects, you know, put to tape really well. We've got tracks like, probably my favorite tracks are on side 2, The Time It Takes. Kind of got a Richard Twice kind of feel to it, and Past the State of Mind, the closing track. But the whole thing's kind of grown on me. This is a very nice, pretty delicate folk pop duo. I think they're based out of Colorado. They're like natives of Colorado, it says on the back. Some people claim they're from Pennsylvania online. I don't really see where they get that. But yeah, you can still come across this album pretty cheap. Paid $10 for it, which is about the going rate for a clean copy. I think I picked this one up in Bloomington, Illinois. Reverberation vinyl. And with most of these records, I can't remember all the sites I went to and picked up all these records individually, but I'll try my best to remember. I'm pretty sure these two were from the same shop. This is one. So these next two, I kind of decided to part with these, I think. I'm going to give this one more spin, but this might go in the trade pile. This is Yours by Forevermore. Kind of has this Valentine's Day card looking sleeve on it. Kind of Christmassy, kind of Valentine's-like, you know. It's a US copy. It's a UK band. For the most part, I would consider this maybe like a progressive pop rock. And when I say pop rock, it's kind of like a traditional rock sound, but these guys go in a whole array of different styles in the kind of folk realm, some UK blues rock inspired tracks, and some just general traditional rock tropes that a lot of UK groups were kind of switching towards, you know, when they would hear US bands. It's on the orange RCA, pretty clean copy, and you could spot this under $10 all day probably. They do have a second album, and I do remember a couple good standouts on there. For me, there were instead of good tracks, I'd say there was good moments. I think it was the closing track on side 1, Good to Me. Opens up really strong, but then they used like these female background vocals, which I thought was kind of a complete turnoff. It just did a whole 180 on me. Then the other big standout for me was Beautiful Afternoon. It's kind of one of the more simpler tracks. It's got some complex songwriting going on, but it's not necessarily psychedelic, if anything at all. The psych influences are pretty minimal, so like I said, I'll give it one more try, but this might go to the trade pile. It didn't really settle as well as as other people had claimed it did for them online, so yeah, just mixed opinion on that one. This is also another one I got from the cheap bin, Hog Heaven. This is basically Tommy James and the Shondells without Tommy James. And look at that big booty on the back. Yeah, so it's kind of the one and only one-off album on Roulette label, obviously. I also like this inner sleeve for the roulette label. It's also got a little shot of Morning Dew on there in the back. I wish it was as easy to find as like, you know, the Tommy James records, but as we all know, I think Morning Dew is probably the most difficult next to Arzachel on the roulette label. If I can stick this back in there, that'd be great. There we go. So yeah, I basically picked this up for like one track. It's kind of a one-track wonder for me. And that'd be the track One Glass Room for the second track on here. It's, if I remember right, it's got some harpsichords, kind of got this moody, kind of pop psych vibe to it. Psych influences, again, really minimal. It's kind of more of a early country rock, kind of roots rock sorts of style going on here. Very unlike, you know, Shondel's, but it's got some good moments. Some nice jamming on here. I think Theme for a Thought and Come Away were the two extended cuts, which are pretty tolerable. But for the rest, it's kind of pedestrian for my taste. But yeah, I think this will go in the trade pile. I just kind of picked it up because Alex picked up a copy as well, and we were kind of vibing on that track Glass Room, which is definitely the standout, so I recommend that one. Okay, now on to, this is one I do remember picking up from Dusty Groove, which did have some awesome reissues. I still missed out picking up a couple from there, but this one I got one hell of a discount on. They had two copies there, and it was marked down. I think it was originally like 40 to 42 bucks, which is like kind of the going rate for even a reissue of this, especially online too. But this was marked way down, like under 20 bucks. And I also showed that in the video. And this is Raw Material, self-titled debut. It is self-titled, right? Yeah. I thought it was like, I always get it mixed up if it's like a self-titled or if it's actually called Time and Illusion. Maybe a different pressing of the album's called that. I can't recall at the moment, but came out in 1970, and it was originally on the Evolution label, which also had Arzachel, UK press. This is on Sunbeam, and I've been wanting this a long time. Like I said, any reissue of this is like 40 bucks. This is the double LP. Played a lot of gigs in the UK with all these mostly rhythm and blues, but also progressive rock bands like Chicken Shack and who else? Brotherhood, Skid Row. It's a big name. Yeah, a lot of these names I don't recognize right offhand. Probably Focus, maybe even. They did a lot of gigging back in the day. I also love the original cover of this. This has two alternate sleeves. One of them is with the band members posing on it, and then there's another one that's kind of more US inspired, you know, psychedelic posters like a bill. I forget all the details of it, but I've always liked this original cover art of a Pied Piper playing along while there's a whole apocalypse and all this darkness in the back. It's got some great standout tracks. The first two tracks, Time and Illusion, it's got this kind of great groove to it going on. I'd Be Delighted has some great flute action going on. It's kind of more upbeat. And then Destruction of America, almost kind of this beat poet track, you know, with a lot of great, you know, very relevant lyrics to this day when you listen to it, with this kind of haunting mellotron on top of it. It's really great progadelic sounds from the UK. So I don't know if the other spare copies at Dusty Groove, but I do recommend you checking it out if it's 19 bucks still. I still haven't even gotten to the second disc, which is full of like demos and alternate takes and stuff, but it came with a booklet basically talking about, you know, history of the band, interviewing, you know, showing all their singles and pretty much covering all the ground that they would do. I still need to listen to Time Is Raw Material, their second album. But yeah, Richard Morton Jack behind Sunbeam. So I think this came out a while back, like sometime in the 2010s, but Yeah, really love this record. Raw material. As far as an upgrade copy, I picked this one up in Normal, Illinois, pretty close to Bloomington, and this was definitely the upgrade copy on the trip. And for you watching out there, you'll see the VC member that picked up my spare promo copy of this. This is In the Beginning by the US Genesis, one and only LP. It's still in the shrink. And the funny thing about this, I didn't realize this till I brought it home. It's got a drill hole there, but no drill through the shrink itself. So I'm assuming maybe it got re-shrink wrapped, early on for whatever reason, because it looks like legitimate shrink, but yeah, there's no punch hole in there either. So this is a stock copy, and it's just a near mint copy, and paid $20 for it, so I just had to scoop it. Considerable upgrade compared to my old promo copy, which was slightly warped, and it's a very ugly looking disc, but it played through. Just had a few rotational clicks on one track, but like I said, considerable upgrade copy. Kind of a mixture between like hard rock and kind of West Coast flavored folk rock at the time. My favorite track's probably Mary Mary on here, not the Monkees track, but it's a good original. Okay, I've got 3 more here, and this is, I think, the last one I picked up from Reverberation. This is like one of the 3 that I've been kind of missing from the Groundhogs collection. Picked up on the Mighty Groundhogs. Who Will Save the World? The Mighty Groundhogs. And this is kind of notorious for its comic book cover, done by Neil Adams, who actually passed away not too long ago, shortly after I picked this up. And as you can about imagine, just by the title and all the images that you see, it's they're very politically outright on this record, like as far as like songwriting goes. Very apocalyptic again, and they were kind of leaning towards that from the beginning, with their 3rd studio album, Thank Christ for the Bomb, which is the only one I need left probably from this band. I used to have Hogwash. It's the album after this one. Probably only had like a couple standouts for me. This is kind of where I end with the Groundhogs, but really have been on a Groundhogs kick lately. They kind of lean back a little bit on this one as far as like the heaviness goes compared to Split. But like I said, the songwriting is very strong on here, and they make good use of like Mellotron, and just song structures in general are very much a key point in the Groundhogs when it comes to this one. So good stuff. Really enjoyed this. This is kind of a first time listen for me. I knew it was part of the progressive rock kick that they were on during this period, so we're glad I could scoop that up. Okay, and then the last 2 are the private pressings of the bunch. This is one that I needed to get familiar with because I saw, once again, some people online were really hyping this one up, and these last 2 I got great deals on. Oops, $7 for this one, for this reissue. This is Ilian, Love Me Crazy, and I have to flip the record over, so just give me 1 second. So yeah, Ilian, Love Me Crazy. This came out in like 77 or 78, I believe, on a tax scam label. I think it was called Kitty Records, but it was distributed by some other big name. I think it's like World Music or something kind of generic. I forget the name, but this was reissued on Anthology label. There's a nice documentary on YouTube if you can search it out. Paul Major himself flew to Phoenix, Arizona, where he was living, and I think it's like a 10-minute video telling his whole story. So if you guys don't know tax scam, it's basically releases that these companies are trying to get away from tax evasion, and produced a lot of records, kind of made up a lot of records just to kind of sell limited quantities so they can be tax free. And so they kind of just did this generic artwork with this Japanese gal on the front, doing these vocals or something with like saliva coming out. It's kind of very unfitting for the album itself, considering the contents, but again, this is one album that kind of goes all over the map, and I'm still kind of warming up to this, but I do like this one, a lot more than Forevermore as far as like diversity and style, but it's very much singer-songwriter. Psychedelic influences are pretty minimal, but very much in the pop mold. There's some jazzy elements here and there, some folk-based material, and some of the songs kind of seem very FM friendly, but at the same time, kind of in the left field of things too, the way he's structuring these tracks out. There's Ilian. I forget his full name, but I don't know if it's on here or not. Leon D. Nahat, I guess is his name. So yeah, Paul Major pretty much got the story on this dude and explains how he sent off like two master tape reels to I think CBS, and they kind of compiled from both master tapes onto this one album, expecting a actual album, getting some good results, and he never got royalties from it, and so it just kind of got lost in obscurity until now. So probably got more exposure now than it ever had. So if I had some favorite tracks, the ones that I remember are See What You See. I think that was kind of a big highlight for a lot of people. Wild Man, which I think was the instrumental I really liked, and Lovely Lady, which is kind of more on the jazz rock side of things. So yeah, couldn't leave a reissue of this quality for $7 alone. So gotta scoop up some Ilian. Then for the final private press, this is one that I'd probably like a little more. Got another great deal on this. I purchased this one and Ilian from Reckless Records. $4 for this one. This is, I think it's pronounced Poloi. I think it's Greek for something. I looked it up, I forgot now. This is released on Folk Evaluation, which I believe is out of Light in the Attic. Could be wrong. It's a reissue that came out a while back, and this is what the original looked like. Some of the covers had a lot of smearing on it, obviously, because it was printed cheap, And they basically just sold it to, the one gig that they did after the release of this, and then just kind of sold it off to friends and family. Again, really went all out in this reissue, telling their whole story. Based out of Richmond, Indiana. I've got interviews with all the band members, pretty much. And you can tell they were actually recording this in the classroom of their college they were attending. I think they also recorded or rehearsed a lot in this like little frat house, if I remember right. This is the original insert that it came with. Check out all the members there, what they play. So yeah, for those private press connoisseurs, I mean, this is definitely kind of what people like. I can see Seeking a Thread liking this. Probably already has it, but yeah, it's a pretty interesting mixed bag again. All original tracks, but done very well. I mean, there's some studio trickery going on, They're kind of experimenting with some tape manipulation, bouncing tracks, using a lot of great analog equipment to capture it all. And the one track that really stands out on here for me is Old Bootstrap. It's the second song on here. It's kind of a moody piece. It's got some moody, almost non-genre. I mean, you almost can't even tag a genre on it because it's all over the map in such a short amount of time, like 4 minutes, Pop rock based, but psych elements again on the minimal side. But when you take the whole context of itself and look into the whole world of obscure original songwriters, they just resonate naturally psychedelic on here. So at least that's how I see it anyway. So if that made any sense. So hoi polloi. Check it out. That about wraps it up, guys. So thanks again for tuning in on part 2 of my Chicago vinyl finds. And I'll be spitting out part 3 sometime soon, hopefully. I think part 3 may end it, but I still have to kind of finish my stack as far as like posting on Instagram. Because when I post on Instagram, that's usually when I've, give a full in-depth listen and have what I have to say about it. So till then, take care and let me know what you guys think. So we'll see you soon.